Hello, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Maruk Aidenwala, your course teacher. I am a practicing lawyer. The course is legal literacy. When we study law, the first thing which comes into our mind is the Constitution. So this module, which is Module 1, and Module 1 to Module 6 are going to look at the Constitution. In this module, we are going to concentrate on the preamble. The preamble, the fundamental rights and directive principles, many say is the heart of the Constitution, and the others say it is the conscience. Before we study the preamble of the Constitution of India, let us understand the term preamble. Every legislation has a preamble. A legislation is a law enacted by Parliament or legislative assemblies. Preamble in a few sentences describes the object of that legislation. At this stage, we must recall that the preamble was written soon after the freedom struggle, after a very long revolutionary struggle. An ambiguity in the provisions of that legislation requires to be interpreted in accordance with or harmonized with the preamble. What this means is that if there is a word or a provision in a legislation which has two interpretations, the correct interpretation is the one in accordance with the preamble. For example, let us read the preamble of the Juvenile Justice, Care and Protection of Children Act 2015. What does it portray? It portrays that this act deals with two categories of children. Children alleged and found to be in conflict with law, and children in need of care and protection. 2, it caters to their basic needs. 3, the approach is to be child-friendly. 3, it has to keep in mind the best interest of the child, and its ultimate goal is rehabilitation. Thus, the preamble denotes that when any decision is taken regarding a child, we should keep in mind the child's best interest, and the ultimate goal of this legislation is rehabilitation of that child. For example, let us read the preamble of the Juvenile Justice, Care and Protection of Children Act 2015. What does the preamble portray about this legislation? 1, that it deals with two categories of children. Children alleged and found to be in conflict with law, and children in need of care and protection. 2, it caters to their basic needs. 3, the approach to be adopted is a child-friendly approach. 4, decisions should be taken keeping in mind the best interest of children. 3, the ultimate goal of this legislation is rehabilitation. Hence, when any decision is to be taken in respect of a child, one should ensure that the best interest of the child is kept in mind and that the decision assists in rehabilitation of the child. Now, let us look at the preamble of the Indian Constitution. The preamble of the Constitution is one of the basic structures of the Constitution. Our country is founded on the tenets in the preamble, and we hope it continues running on the basis of the principles laid down in the Constitution. The ideals and aspirations of the people are contained in the Constitution. Now, let us read what the preamble says. It starts with the words, "we the people." That shows that the Constitution and the preamble has been chosen by the people. It has not been thrust upon the people. The people have the ultimate authority. Sovereign. Sovereign refers to the independent authority of the state. The Indian state is not under any external pressure. Socialist. The term socialist denotes that the focus is upon reducing inequalities amongst the people. Secular. The Indian state is secular. It does not have any religion of its own. That means that it will not discriminate against any religion group, nor will it prefer a particular religion. Justice. Social, economic, and political. Towards this end, the Indian state has to strive. This is the remaining of the preamble. Liberty. When we talk about liberty, we generally mean freedom. But under the preamble, liberty is not restricted merely to physical freedom. It also includes freedom of speech and expression, equality. To bring about an egalitarian society is the focus of the preamble. Fraternity. In India, people follow different religions, speak different languages, and have different cultures. But this diversity should be respected by one and all. The important words in this slide is give to ourselves this constitution. So we, the people of India, have given to ourselves this constitution. Social justice. India is a welfare state. An important facet of a welfare state is social justice. Now we are going to see what the Supreme Court in its judgments has said with regards to social justice. Social and political activity should be such that it does not exploit a person economically or otherwise. Another judgment. The focus of social justice is to reduce the inequalities, to ensure that justice is provided to all members of society in all facets of human activity. Now, let us look at the Dalmia Cement Bharat Limited judgment. How does one make a welfare state? Harmonizing the rival claims or the interests of different groups and or sections in the social structure or individuals by means of which alone is it possible to build such a state. This judgment is very important, and inasmuch as it reflects that the court, why only the court, all the arms of the state, when there is a conflict between different classes, should lean in favor of the weaker section of society. Constitution. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic, and political. Liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship. Equality of status and of opportunity. And to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November, 1949, do hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this constitution. Now let us examine a few terms contained in the preamble. The preamble starts with "we the people." That denotes that the preamble is selected by the people. It is not thrust by somebody in power upon them. Hence, people are the ultimate authority. The next term, sovereign. Sovereign refers to the independent authority of the state. It denotes that the Indian state is not under any external pressure while making its decision. Socialist. India is a socialist state. That means that the state's concentration is on reducing inequalities. Inequalities in income, social inequalities, inequalities in opportunities and facilities. Secular. The term secular shows that India has no religion. India does not discriminate against any particular religion, nor will it do things in favor of any religion. Democratic. Democratic, as Abraham Lincoln said, is by the people, for the people, of the people, and never shall perish. India is a parliamentary democracy. It is a representative democracy. Parliamentary democracy means India has a prime minister and a president. Representative democracy means the people elect their representatives who take decisions on their behalf. Republic. The head of the union is the president. He is not a hereditary head. He is elected. The base of our constitution is justice, social, economic, and political. Hence, the state is required to strive to reduce the gap in social inequalities, economic inequalities, and political inequalities. Liberty. When we speak about liberty, we generally mean freedom. But under the preamble, liberty is not merely restricted to physical freedom. It includes within its ambit the freedom of speech and expression, freedom of faith, freedom of worship. Equality of status and opportunity. That is of great importance when we want to create an egalitarian society where everyone is treated in the same manner and everyone enjoys the same privileges. Fraternity. The people of India follow different religions, speak different languages, and have different cultures. Fraternity, meaning brotherhood, indicates that all these diversities must be respected. The important words are, give to ourselves this constitution. We, the people of India, have given to ourselves this constitution. As I earlier said, social justice is an extremely important facet of the Indian state. The Constitution and its provisions attempt to attain social justice for the people. Social justice is also an extremely important aspect of a welfare state. We are now going to look at certain judgments of the Supreme Court which elaborate the term social justice. The first judgment we are looking at is the 1983 judgment of D.S. Nakara versus Union of India. Socio-economic justice stems from the concept of social morality, coupled with abhorrence for economic exploitation, and the advancing society converts, in course of time, moral or ethical code into enforceable legal formulations. What does this mean? This means that social and political fabrics should be such that we do not believe in exploitation of any form, economic or otherwise. And this practice is ultimately converted into law, which we all are required to follow. Now let us look at this 1995 judgment. CERC versus Union of India. The constitutional concern of social justice as an elastic, continuous process is to accord justice to all sections of the society by providing facilities and opportunities to remove handicaps and disabilities, with which the poor, etc., are languishing, and secure dignity of their person. The Constitution therefore mandates the state to accord justice to all members of the society in all facets of human activity. This judgment focuses on removal of inequalities, removal of weaknesses, which is reflected by the words handicaps and disabilities, which the poor and other weaker sections of society suffer from. Weakness is not only related to economic reasons. Weakness may be because of your social status, may be because of your political status, because of exclusion of certain opportunities or facilities. Now, the 1996 judgment in Dalmia Cement Bharat Limited. Social justice is the comprehensive form to remove social imbalance by law, harmonizing the rival claims of the interests of different groups and or sections in the social structure or individuals, by means of which alone it would be possible to build up a welfare state. This portion refers to the manner in which a welfare state is to be achieved. We understand that in a diverse society there are many rival claims. Harmonizing of these claims is the duty of the state. The balance of this judgment we shall now read. The ideal of economic justice is to make equality of status meaningful and life worth living at its best, removing inequality and opportunity and of status, social, economic, and political. We know that in India we still suffer from casteism. Removal of casteism is moving towards social justice. Also, we know very many of our population are not able to have 2 decent meals a day. So, to reduce this inequality amounts to economic justice. Women have always played a secondary role in our society. It is important that we strive for political justice for women so they have a larger role to play in the public sphere. The next is a 1984 judgment of the Supreme Court, Sadhuram Bansal versus Pulin Bihari Sarkar. There is no ritualistic formula or any magical charm in the concept of social justice. All that it means is that as between 2 parties, if a deal is made with one party without serious detriment to the other, then the court would lean in favor of the weaker section of society. What do we mean by this? We know that in our country, where society is so diverse, there are going to be several rival claims which the state is going to have to decide upon. By state, we don't only mean the court, we also mean the other arms of the state. This judgment says that while deciding rival claims, the state agency should lean in favor of the weaker sections of society. Now let us read the remaining portion. Social justice is the recognition of greater good to a larger number without deprivation or accrual of legal rights of anybody. If such a thing can be done, then social justice must prevail over any technical rule. By that, we mean that no technicality should deter attaining of social justice. State of Karnataka versus Praveen Bhai Thogadia. What did the Supreme Court have to say in this judgment regarding social justice? Welfare of the people is the ultimate goal of all laws, and state action and above all the Constitution, they have one common object, that is to promote the well-being and larger interest of the society as a whole, and not of any individuals or particular groups carrying any brand names. Welfare of the people, promoting the well-being and interest of society is paramount. It's not that you should only favor the elite. In this slide, we are now looking at the body of the Constitution. Preamble we've already looked at in the earlier slides. The Constitution is divided into chapters, but these chapters are called parts. We have 12 parts in the Constitution. Each part of the Constitution has several provisions. Each of this provision is called an article. There are 395 articles in the Constitution. Every article has a title. An article may be divided into clauses and subclauses. Please read the last bullet point closely. It indicates Article 19, Clause 1, Subclause A. State. Article 12 of the Constitution defines state. A state has to ensure that people enjoy their fundamental rights. The state also has to keep in mind directive principles while governing and while enacting legislation. So, now let us together read what Article 12 says. In this part, unless the context otherwise requires, the state includes the government and Parliament of India and the government and the legislature of each of the states and all local or other authorities within the territory of India or under the control of India. Upon reading Article 12, it is very clear that the term state includes the Parliament as well as our state legislatures. Means your members of Parliament and members of Legislative Assembly comes under the term state. It also includes the other arms of the state, such as your bureaucracy and your executive. The president, the vice president, secretaries of different departments all come under the term state. Local authorities also come under the term state. What is a local authority? It is the self-governing unit. Such as, at the village level, you will have your panchayat. At the intermediary level, you will have the panchayat samiti. And at the district level, you will have your Zilla Parishad. It also includes the self-governing units in the urban areas, which is your municipality, your municipal councils, and your Nagar Panchayats. Now, we must understand what we mean by the term other authorities. Other authorities are agencies of the state which perform the functions of the state, such as the security forces which defend the country, such as the police, which is supposed to maintain law and order. Public sector undertakings also fall within the term other authorities. In short, other authorities are those authorities which are wholly or partly funded by the state or whose management and control is in the hands of the state. So, a public hospital falls under Article 12 of the Constitution, as does a municipal school. Yes. This slide shows us the characteristics of fundamental rights. The most important is that fundamental rights are justiciable. If any person's fundamental rights are violated, he can approach the Supreme Court or the High Court. Any law which contradicts the fundamental rights is void. Fundamental rights help in the holistic development of a person. Fundamental rights are rights which an individual enjoys to be able to lead an adequate life. Now, in the next module, we are going to concentrate on fundamental rights. In this slide, we are going to see the different categorization of fundamental rights. These are the broad category. Each category covers several articles. 1. Right to equality. 2. Right to freedom. 3. Right against exploitation. 4. Right to freedom of religion. 5. Cultural and educational rights. 6. Rights to constitutional remedies. So what have we looked at in this module? We have tried to understand the meaning of the term preamble, and we have read and examined the preamble closely. We have also understood the different terms used in the preamble. Most importantly, what is social justice as described by different Supreme Court judgments. Article 12, which defines state, has also been looked at. The term state is extremely wide under the Constitution. It covers different agencies of the state as also authorities or public undertakings which are controlled by the state. And the broad categories of fundamental rights looked at. Thank you.